Ross Ulbricht, a dangerous criminal locked away in a prison cell since October 1st, 2013. His crimes? Drugs, fake IDs, computer hacking, money laundering, and murder for hire. His sentence? 40 years and 2 life sentences with no possibility of parole. Yet, on January 21st, 2025, President Donald Trump pardoned him, making him a free man once again. So, why on earth would Trump pardon this notorious criminal? If you just follow what's reported in the mainstream media, you will likely parrot the simplistic view that Trump is rewarding the libertarians who supported him during his re-election.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht.
The true reasons, however, go far beyond that, and it's going to impact all of us, whether you are an American or not. So let's find out more about this trail. Born on March 27, 1984 in Austin, Texas, Ross Ulbricht was the founder of the notorious website Silk Road that operated from 2011 to 2013. Using the pseudonym Dread Pirate Roberts, he created an online marketplace that facilitated anonymous transactions, primarily for illegal drugs. Many people referred to the Silk Road as the Amazon of the dark web, because unlike ordinary e-commerce sites, Silk Road wasn't accessible through standard browsers or search engines. Instead, it required the use of Tor, a specialized software that anonymizes user activity by routing internet traffic through a global network of encrypted servers. This unique mechanism ensured that both buyers and sellers could operate without revealing their true identities or locations. This level of anonymity was crucial for both buyers and sellers engaging in illegal transactions on the site. Another distinctive feature that sets Silk Road apart was its embrace of Bitcoin, a relatively new and decentralized digital currency that had started gaining popularity around that time. Ross, then in his late 20s, understood the power of Bitcoin's pseudonymous nature. Unlike traditional credit card and banking systems that required personal information and left paper trails, Bitcoin operates without a central authority, and transactions are recorded on a blockchain, making them difficult to trace back to individuals. This payment system became the lifeblood of Silk Road, allowing users worldwide, often masked behind pseudonyms, to conduct transactions for everything from drugs to digital tools, all without the scrutiny that accompanies fiat currencies like the US dollar. Yet, at the same time offering users a high degree of privacy that aligned perfectly with Silk Road's operational philosophy. Ross's operations didn't stay under the radar for long, though. On October 1st, 2013, when he was 29, he was caught by authorities at a library in San Francisco after a complex investigation into the site's operations. Initial accusations included charges that were particularly alarming, such as murder for hire, which garnered significant media attention. However, when it came down to the court proceedings, prosecutors ultimately pursued Ross on these charges. 1. Enabling the sale of narcotics. 2. Hiring hackers to attack Silk Road competitors. 3. Laundering Bitcoin proceeds. 4. Enabling the sale of fake identity documents like driving licenses and passports. Notably, the sensational murder for hire allegations that were included in the indictment were quietly dropped before trial due to lack of evidence. On May 29, 2015, Ross was sentenced to 2 life terms plus 40 years without the possibility of parole. According to the judge, the severity of the sentence was influenced by the scale of the operation and its impact, including at least 6 deaths linked to drugs purchased on the Silk Road. She also emphasized that Ross's actions were no different from those of any other drug dealer, underscoring the gravity of his crimes. With wall-to-wall coverage of Ross's case by the media, the general public understandably celebrated the news of Ross's sentence. However, there was a group of people who were absolutely disgusted with the ruling, and they would play a major role in influencing Trump's decision to pardon Ross. Silk Road was the first major online marketplace that allowed users to buy and sell goods and services anonymously using Bitcoin. So, naturally, a lot of early Bitcoin enthusiasts knew about Silk Road. Back then, many of them happened to share similar fundamental beliefs with libertarians as well. These communities, united by their advocacy for personal freedom, minimal government intervention, and financial sovereignty, saw Ross's case as a direct attack on their core values. And thus, many of them became the earliest group of Ross supporters. They did their own research that went far beyond the headlines in newspapers or blogs and the sensational reporting in traditional media. They highlighted the corruption at the heart of Ross's case, which led many to question the integrity of the entire prosecution. Two federal agents involved in the investigation, Carl Mark Force IV and Sean Bridges, were later convicted of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin during the investigation. This led to arguments that law enforcement might have tampered with evidence linked to Silk Road. They also pointed out the media's sensationalized coverage of unproven murder-for-hire allegations. Though these accusations were never formally charged in the trial that resulted in his conviction, they significantly influenced public perception and possibly the sentencing. Supporters argued that this was a deliberate strategy to demonize Ross, painting him as a dangerous criminal to justify a harsh sentence. And finally, they lashed out at the grossly disproportionate severity of Ross's sentence: double life imprisonment plus 40 years without the possibility of parole. A ridiculous sentence for a first-time offender for non-violent crimes of the nature that Ross committed. In comparison, El Chapo, the infamous Mexican drug lord and leader of the Sinaloa cartel, whose crimes included extensive violent actions leading to thousands of deaths and widespread suffering, was sentenced to a lesser charge of life in prison plus 30 years in July 2019. This disparity became a rallying point for those arguing that the punishment was more about making an example of Ross than serving justice. As the years went by, the arguments from Ross's supporters gained further traction and would spread to a wider audience around the world, especially among cryptocurrency enthusiasts. So when Trump promised to pardon Ross during his presidential campaign at the Libertarian National Convention in May 2024,
and if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht.
many see it simply as Trump trying to win more votes from Ross's supporters for his re-election. After all, Trump did have a chance to pardon Ross back in 2021 when he was leaving his first presidency. Several politicians had also petitioned for Ross to be pardoned. However, Trump chose not to do that back then. That's why I said Trump pardoning Ross for the votes from Ross's supporters is not the only nor the main reason. So what's changed since Trump was president in his first term until his recent re-election? And what are Trump's real reasons for pardoning Ross? Remember all the legal cases that Trump had to deal with throughout his presidential campaign? There's no doubt in many people's minds that if Trump didn't have the millions to hire the best lawyers for his case, or that he wasn't reelected, he would certainly have ended up in jail. After all the trials and tribulations that Trump had gone through with his own legal tussles, he was now able to fully identify with Ross's predicament. And that's one of the real reasons he pardoned Ross. Not because he suddenly found out that Ross wasn't given a fair hearing or an overly harsh sentence, but because he, himself, was subjected to intense prosecutorial and media scrutiny during his own trials that he and his supporters felt were unfair. In short, Trump took things personally this time. And with Ross's pardon, he is sending a message to the justice system what he really thinks of them. And that brings us to the other real reason why Trump pardoned Ross. And it's an important one because its effects will be felt around the world for generations to come. Trump is preparing America for a future that will embrace cryptocurrency. Take a look at the following events and you will see what I mean. It shows all the planning that had been going on behind the scenes even before Ross was pardoned on January 21st, 2025. December 5th, 2024, a month after the U.S. election, Trump announced the appointment of David Sacks, a prominent Silicon Valley investor and co-founder of an AI company, as the White House AI and crypto czar. Trump stated that Sacks would focus on advancing U.S. leadership in both the AI and cryptocurrency sectors. January 17, 2025, 3 days before his inauguration, Trump announced the launch of his own crypto meme coin on his social media accounts. January 19, 2025, 1 day before his inauguration, Trump's wife Melania announced the launch of her own crypto meme coin on her social media account. January 20th, 2025, Trump was inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States. January 23rd, 2025, Trump signed the executive order titled Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financial Technology, aimed at positioning the United States as a global leader in blockchain, cryptocurrency, and other emerging financial technologies. A key directive is to explore the creation of a national digital asset stockpile, which would serve as a strategic reserve of digital assets like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Another key directive explicitly banned the creation and issuance of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs, in the United States, citing concerns over government overreach and the potential threat to individual economic liberty. On January 21, 2025, Ross received a full pardon from President Trump. After spending 11 years and 113 days in prison from the time of his arrest, Ross was finally a free man again. And just like that, we have all been ushered into a cryptocurrency new age. Thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one.